Burma's Prime Minister Taking Nu, who visited Ceylon on pilgrimage with his wife and a number of distinguished Burmese men and women, was accorded a reception by the Mahabodhi Society of Ceylon and by other Buddhist associations at Palm Court, Colombo. The reception was attended by a representative gathering of Buddhists and by the Burmese pilgrims who accompanied Taking Nu to Ceylon. A special program of dances was their entertainment. Taking Nu, the Premier, was particularly interested in the dances and discussed them with the Minister for Justice, Dr. L.A. Rajapaksa. Their pilgrimage to the shrines and historical sites in Ceylon culminated in the arrangements made at the request of the Burmese Premier for the removal of the sacred Buddha relics from the Dalada Maligawa Kandy for exhibition in Burma. These relics arrive at the Abhay Singha Rama temple at Panchagavatta in Colombo. For the first time in living memory, Buddha relics are now on their way to Burma. Thousands lined the route as the traditional procession moved from Panchagavatta to the passenger jetty. The relic casket of pure gold contained 5 relics of the Buddha and 7 relics of his disciples. Together with these relics, 150 bow saplings were also conveyed. Taking Nu and Sir U Thwin, leader of the Buddhist laity in Burma, stood reverently by while the Diyavadana Nilama handed the sacred casket to the Mr. Senanayaka, who carried it with great solemnity between the lines of devotees assembled at the jetty. A vast crowd packed the upper jetty to see the Diyavadana Nilama, Mr. C.B. Nugavella, lay custodian of the Temple of the Tooth, take charge of the relics. They saw the Diyavadana Nilama step into the special launch which took him on board HMS Kenya, which lay at anchor in the Colombo harbour. Taking Nu, accompanied by Mr. Senanayaka, goes on board the relic ship, and in the steps of his piety, other Burmese pilgrims follow eagerly onward. The sacred casket and the bow saplings are placed on the deck. Thus ends a historic mission for Taking Nu. Ceylon's second independence anniversary was celebrated on February 4th when the customary parade by the armed forces of Ceylon and a fly-past by the Air Force was witnessed by thousands of people at the Galle-Face Green that morning. Troops drawn from the Royal Navy, the CRNVR, the Ceylon Volunteer Forces, the United Kingdom Forces in Ceylon, the Ceylon Cadet Battalion and the Royal Air Force marched past His Excellency the Governor General, who took the salute. It was a colorful scene and the ceremony was dignified and impressive. The firm tread of those marching feet was in step with the strides that Ceylon was making towards the goal of prosperity and security for our island people. To a man, the smart body of men marching past was aware of the great role that the island of Ceylon had begun to play as a free country. A role made clear by the memory of the famous Colombo Conference of Commonwealth Prime Ministers and by the Asian Regional Conference of the ILO held at Nuwara. The afternoon celebrations on Independence Anniversary Day saw 10,000 people assembled at the Colombo Race Course to witness a 2.5-hour program of drill displays and national dances in which 2,000 boys and girls took part. Girls from 17 Ceylon schools in their white school uniforms marched in formation and provided an inspiring spectacle of a smart and healthy youth, worthy heirs to the dower of freedom they had inherited. There was solemnity and confidence in the bearing of these young citizens to be. as they swung forward in a brisk march, or as they stood perfectly still in between the different movements of their display. Every seat in the public stands was occupied, and all Colombo applauded the magnificent show that the youngsters put up on that bright afternoon. The display ended with the singing of the national anthem, Namo Namo Mata, and the vast gathering in the stands stood in silence as the strains of the noble melody came over the loudspeakers and found an echo in the hearts of free Ceylon's sons and daughters there present in their thousands on the green. Disaster hit the little village of Gintota, 7 miles from Gaul on the southern seaboard of Ceylon. The people in these Kadain thatched houses were just taking another look at the skies at the end of yet another day, when a whirlwind struck the village with sudden fury. It was all over in a few minutes, but hundreds of sturdy coconut palms and other big trees were pulled from their roots and flung across and over the houses. Telegraph and electric posts, cast in concrete, were broken, and the tangled wires flung across the roads. It was not difficult then for the winds to snap this palm tree at its sturdy base. Rescue work was rapidly organized by the government under the direction of the government agent Southern Province. It will take weeks and months before little Gintota takes up the broken threads of life again. One of Colombo's largest tennis crowds saw the internationals Patricia Todd and Gussie Moran, the one and only gorgeous Gussie, in action at the Colombo Garden Club. There was a hush of expectancy when Mrs. Todd and Gussie Moran met in the center court. Although there was no all-out frenzy in their play, there was an ease and lissome grace which made the display memorable. There was poetry of motion in the swift parry and thrusts of their play. Mrs. Todd won the first set 6-1. But in the second, both players warmed to the contest and played a faster game. Gussie Moran became more aggressive and gave the crowd a delightful exhibition of fighting tennis. The game developed into a duel of long drives from the baseline, with an occasional quick one chopped down from the net. Mrs. Todd played a steady, relentless game, less spectacular than Moran, but sure, steady and sustained. She emerged victorious, and Colombo's tennis fans added yet another gem to the storehouse of their memory. Everyone who saw the magic of Mrs. Todd's courtcraft and the rhythm of gorgeous Gussie's footwork at baseline or at the net will fervently hope that these stars will be back again with us on the sunny courts of Ceylon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I and my brother Mickey have much pleasure in presenting this march composed by us to commemorate Lanka's independence